Conor McGregor claims he's earned a title shot. Jon Jones versus Jake Hager was announced as a grappling match, but then it got unannounced as a grappling match, but then again it will probably be re-announced as a grappling match in a couple of days' time. And Kevin Holland has announced that he's moving down to the welterweight division, and he called out Daniel Rodriguez and some other welterweight contenders. I thought I'd break down all of these topics in today's MMA News reaction video, starting with Conor McGregor claiming that he's earned a title shot in the lightweight division, and he'll be taking on the winner of Oliveira versus Poirier in December for his title shot. Delusionally, he is saying this on Twitter. He posted a tweet, and I quote, "Hi lads, here goes. Clicks and the like. Your boss and whatnot, the Mac. Santa Claus," of course giving us all of his official titles before he tells us the message of what he's got to say. And then he goes on to say this, which I really do hope is not true whatsoever, because I know that it does sound delusional, but I'm worried that there is some kind of backstage conversation that we don't quite know about, where Dana White and the UFC are talking to Conor McGregor to give him this level of delusion, and that's what really worries me. And I quote, "I'm facing whoever the fuck has that lightweight title next. Deal with it. Take off your goggles and mark the trilogy unfinished. Deal with that too. The rest mentioned after this. Deal with it." Now, of course, I believe he's posted this because he's seen Islam Makhachev and Justin Gaethje squabbling over who should get the lightweight title shot next. It's been the moment of conversation. It's been the main conversation that's been going on right now in the MMA world recently. Who's going to get the title shot in the lightweight division against the winner of Oliveira versus Poirier? And now Conor McGregor's put his name in the hat. Delusionally, I do not agree with this whatsoever. Of course, he is nowhere near the top of the rankings in the lightweight division. I believe he's ranked where in the lightweight division right now? Number 9? Not even top 5. Barely top 10. Like, this is not possible, surely, but here's why I worry. Why would he so openly and so confidently say this if he didn't think there was some chance that it would happen? And if Poirier does beat Oliveira, and let's say the UFC decides, you know what, Gaethje and Makhachev, the best way to deal with this confusion is for you two to fight each other whilst McGregor takes on Poirier for a quadrilogy, that would really annoy me, but it could potentially happen, and that's the most annoying part about it. This is delusional. There's no way Conor McGregor should be getting a title shot in the lightweight division. I understand his idea of the trilogy with Dustin Poirier being unfinished. I really do understand that, okay? Because, again, he broke his leg in the fight. He didn't get a leg kick checked. That wasn't the reason that his leg broke. He didn't kick the elbow of Poirier, which was the next thing that people were assuming that happened to make the leg break. That didn't happen. He didn't even clash with the forearm or the elbow of Poirier whatsoever. He literally took a weird step on his own leg after kicking Poirier a couple of times clean to the legs, and his leg snapped. And then he got pounded out on the ground, which led to a 10-8 round, and he claims that the trilogy is not finished, which I do understand his mentality. Like, if your leg snaps in a fight and your opponent hasn't caused your leg to snap in your own brain, let's just go along with McGregor here for his delusion. If it's not the opponent's reasoning, if it's not the opponent's fault that your leg broke, you're going to be annoyed that your leg broke, and you're not going to see that as a real win for Dustin Poirier. Now, I do believe that Dustin Poirier would have won that fight anyway, but I understand McGregor's mindset here. It's just like, you're number 9. You're number 9. You haven't won a fight since Cerrone, and Cerrone's not a great win to have right now, okay? Because you're putting yourself... Beating Cerrone back in the day used to put you amongst the names like Rafael Dos Anjos and Darren Till at one point at welterweight, and Jorge Masvidal and these top welterweight contenders, and Robbie Lawler would scrape by with a win against Donald Cerrone, and you'd put yourself up there at lightweight with names like RDA and Pettis. But now you put yourself in with names like Alex Morono, you know, and arguably Nico Price. It's a different selection of names that you're a part of a club with for beating Donald Cerrone that doesn't quite hold the same weight anymore. He's number 9. Sure, he has a win over Poirier. Sure, he has a win over Holloway. I think his next move is Tony Ferguson. Why is this not being discussed immediately? Tony Ferguson is the perfect fight. I don't really care about a Nate Diaz trilogy. Nate Diaz is not ranked anywhere 170 through 155 whatsoever. He's complete garbage. In terms of the rankings and how the rankings are concerned, they don't care about Nate Diaz at all. He's nowhere on them whatsoever. So, Conor McGregor versus RDA is another fight that makes sense. Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler would also make some sense, but I think Conor McGregor versus Tony Ferguson is the best possible option you can go with, because that press conference will sell 2 million pay-per-views, or it will sell at least the same amount as the last fight with McGregor did. It'll be his big comeback fight, and I do believe if Michael Chandler's at a press conference with Conor McGregor, he's going to be a nice guy the entire time. We're going to see the nice version of McGregor, which I just don't want to see whatsoever in any way at all, because it won't sell pay-per-views. And we're also going to see a little bit of animosity between him and Rafael Dos Anjos, but Dos Anjos doesn't really speak English that well. He does speak English quite good, but it's not to the level that Tony Ferguson speaks English, and it's not the level of entertainment that Tony Ferguson would bring to a press conference. I feel like they need to do Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson at a press conference for the pay-per-view fight. Loser goes home and retires forever. Winner stays on just outside the top 5 and looks for a title elimination bout. I think it's the perfect fight to make. There's history there. Ferguson was calling him out for years. Now the fight's about to happen. It's finally here. Two old guys that might not have it anymore. Which one has still got it out of the two of them? I think they need to make that matchup. Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson. It'd move Conor McGregor probably to number 6 in the lightweight division. And then we can talk about maybe the quadrilogy with Poirier if he loses to Oliveira and moves down to number 2, number 3 at lightweight. We'll see how that one goes. I don't want to hear about McGregor fighting for a belt for a very long time. Not on his team here whatsoever. But I worry, because why would he be this arrogantly confident about like actually being possibly... Why would he be so confident and arrogant to outright say this so clearly, deal with it, if he didn't have some kind of acknowledgement from like the backstage, like businessmen at the UFC to say, yeah, you probably are going to get that quadrilogy if Poirier does beat Oliveira, because I could definitely see them doing that. Poirier beats Oliveira. Hey, we don't know who deserves the title shot right now between Gaethje and Makhachev. They should fight each other. Who the fuck is Beneil Dariush? Oh, McGregor, let's do the quadrilogy and make a shit ton of money again. I can see them doing it, and it worries me. It should not happen. It makes no sense at all. Moving on to another topic. Jon Jones versus Jake Hager was apparently signed and announced. Jon Jones announced it on his Twitter, but then had to remove it afterwards because Jake Hager didn't sign anything, but he knew it was happening. They were in negotiations. They were talking back and forth. I'm sure Jake Hager was looking for a bit of money for it, because if he loses to Jon Jones in a grappling match, it's going to be quite shaming for him. It's obviously, no one wants to lose in front of the world because it will be televised. I feel like Jon Jones and Jake Hager is a great idea. I wouldn't have picked Jake Hager, but he's a big name, I guess, and he's undefeated in MMA. 3-0 against Cans, I understand, but still, he's a wrestler. He's a credentialed wrestler as well. He's got good wrestling credentials. He was an NCAA All-American out of Oklahoma, which is pretty good credentials for a wrestler, in all honesty. Amazing credentials for a wrestler. So he does have a good chance in the grappling against Jon Jones, but I'm assuming he wants a bit more money. He wants a negotiation of where it's at and stuff like this, and just some little details to iron out in the contracts that they're dealing with. And Jon Jones announced it too early. And now they're a bit confused, and Jake Hager said, first of all, it's AEW on TNT, and undefeated Bellator heavyweight Jake Hager. Secondly, no terms have been discussed or contract signed yet. We can talk if the terms are right. So we need to discuss this stuff. We need to discuss this stuff right now. I don't know why Jones would have announced this if nothing had been discussed. So something has been discussed, but they weren't finished discussing it, in my opinion. And we'll see if it happens. I think this would be a great idea. I reckon Jon Jones wanted to do this as soon as he saw Khamzat Chimaev versus Jack Hermansson signed or happen, because it would be a good idea. He sees it, he gets inspired. I could do a grappling match and get paid in the meantime and show off some heavyweight strength against a big heavyweight in Jake Hager, who's a credentialed wrestler as well, that he would get some credit for completely manhandling if he were to be able to do that. I think Jon Jones would win it, of course. It's a grappling match, it's not a wrestling match. There's a lot of different aspects there that Jon Jones is way better than Jake Hager at, even if he isn't already better than him at this point in his life at wrestling itself. I think he's better at wrestling than Jake Hager right now in life. I think he's better at grappling in general. Jiu-jitsu, he's got it. Submission attempts, submission ability, he's got it as well. Jon Jones would easily out-grapple Jake Hager and make him tap. But either way, Jon Jones then said afterwards, which one of you big boys out there trying to get choked out? I reckon they make the Jake Hager matchup. I can't see any other big guys willing to take this one. No one from the UFC is going to be able to do it because, I don't know, maybe they would, but I just don't see that happening. I think that would ruin the mystique of Jones at heavyweight if he took on an actual UFC heavyweight in a grappling match. It would ruin that mystique, or maybe it would build it up even more, because if we watch Jon Jones wrestle and grapple with, let's say, Curtis Blades, and he completely out-grapples him and submits him with a Kimura in the first round, then people are going to be like, dude, could he do that to Ngannou? And it would build up the confidence that Jones could actually beat these heavyweights. We'll see what he does. Maybe Stipe Miocic should do it. What the fuck is Stipe doing? Just saw an interview of him on the Ariel Helwani's MMA show. What the fuck are you doing? Every fucking time I see Stipe's name, it's attached with no fight announcement whatsoever. So if I'm Stipe, I'm putting my name in the hat. I'll grapple you, Jon Jones. Let's make it happen. We'll see if that goes down. Hopefully it does. Of course, both guys are credentialed wrestlers. Jon Jones was a National Junior College Athletic Association, an All-American and national champion in 2006. And in the same very year, Jake Hager was an NCAA All-American out of Oklahoma, even setting the single-season record for the most pins in the 285-pound weight class, which is ridiculous. So I think it'll be a great matchup. Let's make it happen. I'm sure they'd shit-talk a bit beforehand because, of course, Jake Hager was from the WWE. He knows how to sell a little bit of a competition. Let's make it happen. Moving on to another situation that's going down. Kevin Holland is moving to the 170-pound division. He's called out Daniel Rodriguez. He's called out Li Jingliang. I think he already has a win over Jeff Neal, who's currently ranked where? Number 11 in the welterweight division. And if Jeff Neal beats Santiago Ponzinibbio in December, I'm sure that's an option for a rematch for Kevin Holland. I'm burping through this video, but still, that's an option for a rematch. The Jeff Neal fight is always going to be there. He's already TKO'd him before in his career quite badly, but it was a close fight. Jeff Neal was beating the shit out of Holland at the start. Holland bounced back and got the win. So we do know he can compete with welterweight top-level guys. I don't really like the idea of him moving down. But if it's his move, it's his move. And he still doesn't rule out the idea of being at middleweight. But I just feel like the Israel Adesanya storyline was already set up so well. I hope he at some point moves back up if he does have success at welterweight. But we'll see what goes down. He said he'll still take matchups in the welterweight division. I wouldn't mind... he said he'll still take matchups at middleweight. I wouldn't have minded a Darren Till versus Kevin Holland. Loser kind of dips out for a bit and earns their way back in. I don't know, but I thought that would be a decent matchup. I could see even Kevin Holland, Chris Weidman on the comeback because he'd beat Chris Weidman on the comeback because Chris Weidman's legs destroyed and Holland would just calf kick him once and finish him. So we'll see what goes down. Kevin Holland's moving down to 170. He called out D-Rod. I like his chances against D-Rod. D-Rod's now currently not ranked anymore in the welterweight division, but he could be soon. We'll see how the rankings play out. But if I was welterweights and I was just outside the top 15 or barely inside the top 15, I'd be calling Kevin Holland's name right now. I like the idea of a Li Jingliang bout. It's a striker versus striker matchup. That's what Kevin Holland said. He said, if you want a striker, I'll be your striker. We could strike together, Li Jingliang. That's a big matchup to make. Co-main event of any fight night. Main card of a pay-per-view or the headliner of a prelims of a pay-per-view. Preferably a fight night, though, and a co-main event quite higher up on the card than it would be on a pay-per-view. Or we could do Kevin Holland versus Neil Magny. Kevin Holland versus Chimaev even, but I doubt that he wants that, because I'm sure he wants to take a striker on if he can, possibly first. Maybe Muslim Salikov, Mikel Pereira winner takes on Kevin Holland. Maybe the Santiago Ponzinibbio, Jeff Neal winner takes on Kevin Holland. There's so many matchups they can make at welterweight right now, but if I was Kevin Holland, and I wanted just a free win at welterweight, why not shoot a little DM to Tim Means, and, just see what he's doing, because I think he would easily beat Tim Means at welterweight. Now, Tim Means can grapple a bit, but he's not really a dominant grappler. He's never been known to ground people out and destroy them that way. He could barely keep down Nicholas Dalby. So, I think if Kevin Holland wants to have a real serious chance in the welterweight division, why not just jump straight in with Chaos Williams? He wants to get his brain checked out because he had the clash of heads with Dorcas, so he doesn't want to rush things, but there's so many fun matchups for him. Why not call out Nico Price? I feel like there's some certain names that Holland could call out in the welterweight division. Why not Robbie Lawler? Why not Nate Diaz? Nick Diaz? Why not call out these names rather than D-Rod and who else was the other one? Li Jingliang, who are quite high up the rankings. And honestly, if you're them, you're looking at like Kevin Holland as a guy who has no ranking whatsoever at welterweight. So why would I fight that guy when I could take on a... Why would Li Jingliang take on Kevin Holland if he could take on a higher-ranked Michael Chiesa and climb up the division for beating him? Why would he do that, you know? But I understand Kevin Holland's call-out. He wants a ranked opponent, but I think you should start looking at names like Robbie Lawler, Nick Diaz, which I don't think they do, but maybe Nick Diaz would be more just that stupid to take that matchup. Who knows? And also some other names like Jake Matthews, Nico Price, Randy Brown, Tim Means, some winnable matchups for him. Those are the good ones. We'll see what they decide to do. Lots of fun matchups coming up soon, hopefully with Kevin Holland moving down to welterweight. But I do want to see him at middleweight still, because I know the storyline's there with Adesanya. So if it doesn't work out at welterweight, let's go back up to middleweight. Let's sort things out there. I know he wants to get rid of the grappling advantage that people have over him for being bigger, but, like, I don't know how Kevin Holland's going to deal at 170, because he does take a lot of shots, and he'd be a massive guy for the weight class, with a long reach for the weight class as well, which would make him dangerous. But who knows how well he's going to be taking shots, because technically he did get flash KO'd by Dorcas's head. So, we'll see how things go for Holland. Hopefully he gets a match-up soon and we can see him back in action, because I hate an inactive Holland. He likes to be fighting at least once every 2 months. Like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. McGregor's not getting a fucking title shot. Holland should move down to 170, but should change the call-outs that he's making, because D-Rod as well is injured with his hand and might need to go back into surgery, which is why that fight might not happen. And Li Jingliang might not want to risk his ranking against a guy with no ranking. And let's rebook Jones versus Hager. If not, let's do a Jones-Stipe grappling match. Or let's fucking book Jones-Stipe as a fucking fight. What's all this grappling match bullshit? Get in the fucking octagon. Like and subscribe. Click that button up there. Toodle pip. I'll see you later. Goodbye.